When we think of royal rule breakers, Princess Diana tops the list. But as it turns out, King Charles III has broken more than a few royal rules himself, and on more than one occasion. It's a tradition as old as time. On her wedding day, the bride's father walks her down the aisle. But King Charles III has broken this unwritten rule on more than one occasion. The first time was when he married Queen Camilla in 2005. Since this was Charles's second marriage, which in itself broke royal rules, he opted to walk Camilla down the aisle instead of waiting for her at the altar. And Charles defied tradition yet again when Prince Harry got married. A few days before the wedding, Meghan's dad told them he wouldn't make it to the ceremony.
Her father reportedly cannot travel for the next week or two.
People expected her mother, Doria Raglan, to take over, but Charles did the honours instead. Royal journalist Duncan Larkham explained that Meghan's mother didn't feel comfortable with the pressure that came with performing such a key role on the world stage. So, Harry asked Charles, who has a lifetime of experience when it comes to fulfilling royal roles and duties. Charles happily obliged. Royal protocol be damned. Given his penchant for breaking the rules, it's no surprise that King Charles defied a couple of royal traditions at his coronation, and we kind of love him for it. Charles might live in a literal castle, but that doesn't mean he's clueless when it comes to the issues his subjects face.
Can I look at this end?
Yes, certainly.
I like the Black Prince's ruby.
With the cost of living higher than ever in 2023, the king opted for a toned-down event, adjusting and even eliminating some royal traditions. One of the most obvious changes was foregoing the customary breeches and silk stockings his predecessors wore. Instead, Charles wore the pants from his military uniform. Palace aides were apparently glad about the change. One source told The Sun, "Senior aides think breeches look too dated." We couldn't agree more. Charles also did away with the custom that requires dukes to bend the knee and swear allegiance to him. However, William, Prince of Wales, still honoured the custom. Royal customs dictate what the monarch wears to their coronation and also stipulate the dress code for guests. Anna Rowland, director of Anderson and Shepherd Tailors, told GQ that coronation ceremonies had always been a way for guests to show off how important they are. For instance, if you were from a noble family, you got to wear a coronet along with a velvet cloak lined with fur. Passed down through generations, these cloaks have been worn at coronation ceremonies since the 17th century. Charles, however, decided these were as outdated as silk stockings and told guests that business suits would do. While some likely heaved a sigh of relief, others complained about the changes the new monarch was making. One unnamed aristocrat grumbled to the Telegraph, "Our robes go back to the 19th century and I would have been the 5th generation to wear them. It's very sad." In the end, the palace told the disgruntled lords that they could wear their robes if they wished, but to leave their coronets at home. Royal watchers were delighted when Charles announced that his grandson, Prince George, would be one of his pages of honour at the coronation. Public approval aside, the choice was non-traditional. It's usually teens from noble families who receive this honour, not members of the royal family. The king announced his pages in an Instagram post featuring a new portrait of him and Queen Camilla. The comments were mostly positive, with many expressing their delight at the role the young prince would play in the ceremony. In a significant deviation from tradition, Charles opted to travel to his coronation in Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee State Coach instead of the Golden State Coach. Why? Because even the Queen, who rarely complained about anything, once expressed how uncomfortable the Golden Coach is.
It's only sprung on leather.
So it rocks around a lot.
It's not very comfortable.
Having been made in the 18th century, the coach doesn't have any of the modern perks the Queen's Diamond Jubilee coach has, including heating, air conditioning, hydraulic suspension, and electric windows. Considering all that, Charles's choice makes perfect sense. In 2023, Charles allowed the BBC Behind the Castle Walls to film a 90-minute documentary titled Charles III, The Coronation Year.
And if you ever get lost, sir, you just look confident and bow.
Buckingham Palace has been a no-go zone for the press in the past, but it seems the new king is eager to open up the castle doors and give the public a glimpse of royal life.
My old Aston Martin runs on, can you believe this, surplus English white wine. And whey from the cheese presses.
It was only the second time in history that the press has been granted this kind of access, and the first time didn't go so well. In 1969, Queen Elizabeth allowed a film crew access to the palace to create the now infamous documentary Royal Family. It wasn't well received by the public, shattering the fairy tale perception many were determined to hold on to when it came to the monarchy. The backlash was so bad that the Queen ended up banning it, but Charles is ready to give it another go. Queen Elizabeth refrained from drama, only letting her voice be heard when she deemed it necessary. But Charles is taking a different approach, making sure that he's both seen and heard. Royal expert Sharon Carpenter told E! News the Queen was known for not showing any emotion, which worked for her for a good amount of time. But right now we're in a time where people want someone who is more relatable across the board. Charles seems to know this and has been trying his best to relate more to the people he governs. And this includes doing away with the stiff upper lip Brits are known for. When he lost his cool with a leaky pen while signing documents shortly after the Queen's death, it was both funny and relatable. The Queen would never have let her frustration show, but somehow Charles's very human moment connected with many people. It appears Charles has also allowed other members of the royal family to connect with the public in ways they haven't before. Carpenter notes that since Charles ascended the throne, William and Catherine, Prince and Princess of Wales, have been much more relaxed with members of the public, hugging fans and taking selfies, which used to be a big no-no.